If you hate the sound of the goal horn, cover your ears at Toscano. UConn women's hockey advanced to the Hockey East Tournament final on back-to-back dominant wins. We'll hear from head coach Chris McKenzie and two senior captains.
And it's the end of what has been a historic ride for Alex Caravan, who played his final game at Gampo last weekend. We'll take a look back at his stellar career at UConn and take a look ahead at the Big East Tournament and Big Dance are just around the corner. And make way for the Queens of the East as the undefeated UConn women gear up for their debut in the conference tournament this weekend, hoping to bring back the program's sixth straight Big East title. Connecticut Game Week starts right now. For the 11th time in program history, the UConn women have finished the regular season with a spotless 31-0 record. Fun fact, 7 of those previous 10 regular seasons ended with the Huskies hoisting up the national championship trophy in April. Will 2026 see that same fate? Well, all the odds certainly seem to be in UConn's favor. Welcome into Connecticut Game Week, everyone. I'm Alexa Harley.
And I'm Sean Humphrey. I guess that's why they call it the basketball capital of the world. Yeah. 31 up, 31 down, but plenty of challenges along the way. The Huskies played 7 ranked non-conference opponents, yet all but one win has been by double digits. The Huskies started their season in Annapolis, Maryland at the U.S. Naval Academy. They faced then number 20 Louisville in the Armed Forces Classic, but with 21 points from Sarah Strong and 20 more from AZ Fudd, they ended up beating Louisville by 13, their second smallest margin of victory this season. And oh, by the way, Louisville has since moved all the way up to 12th.
And there were plenty of huge non-conference matchups. Perhaps none was bigger than this. You see the orange, you know it's Tennessee, a rivalry that's been at the forefront of several tournament games and 4 national titles. This past matchup, though, it went in UConn's favor. The then number 15 Tennessee, who had beaten UConn the year prior, looked like they had a chance to be the first team to send the Huskies home with a loss this year. But Ariema's Army did what they do best, and that's hit bucket after bucket. So much so that they broke away from a tie game at the half to beat the Lady Vols by about 30 points. Now, Louisville and Tennessee were not the only ranked opponents that UConn faced during the regular season. So here on this map, and I'll step away for a moment, you can see the full picture
here.
I
guess I'll
all the ranked
too.
teams that UConn faced. And they were either ranked at the time of the matchup or are ranked now as tournament time looms. So season started, you had Louisville, then Ohio State. A few weeks later, then you are sitting pretty at 11. That's what Ohio State is at right now.
Yeah, and after they bulldozed the Buckeyes, they played OSU's arch rival, the Michigan Wolverines from Ann Arbor. And this was the closest game UConn played, winning by just 3 points. Then it was off to USC, the West Coast, where they took down the women of Troy. And then there was Notre Dame, Iowa, and Tennessee, all blowout wins.
And they all have in common, Sean, is that the Huskies' hurricane came for all of them.
I thought Hurricanes weren't in the Big East anymore.
Shh, we don't talk about that. Outside of that close win against the Wolverines, UConn dominated in every single game. But months later, that Michigan game is worth taking another look around. The Huskies took an 18-point lead into halftime, but then the second half became a shootout. Michigan guard Silas Swords forgot how to miss. She nailed 8 3-pointers and a 29-point performance to give the Huskies their toughest test of the season. But it was AZ Fudd who answered from behind the arc with 7 3-pointers and 31 points of her own. Now the Huskies stumbled into the second half. They were outscored 18-4 in the third quarter, but by the time we saw zeros on the game clock, the Fudd flurry was enough. Michigan is now ranked 8th, and the Huskies rounded off a 21-game win streak, of course, by winning by at least 25 points. Now, their closest margin since then was a 14-point win over Villanova.
And where would any team be without its stars? And UConn forward Sarah Strong has not just been the team's star, she's arguably been the best player in all of college basketball this season. She leads the Huskies in points, rebounds, steals, and blocks, and is second in assists. We've heard her head coach say there's an aura she has on the basketball court and a stability she brings to the team. Her teammates have echoed that sentiment, and soon her trophy closet could be the evidence. This week, The Athletic named her its National Player of the Year, and she's also a 7-time Big East Player of the Week this season. So opposing offenses have had their hands full, opposing defenses have left empty-handed, and overall it's probably easier to stop nutmeggers from arguing over a beats than to stop Sarah Strong from dominating.
Well, with a program like UConn, it's never dominated by just one star on the court. That's just not how Gino does things in stores. So it's not just Sarah Strong who's been a showstopper on the court. The 2025 NCAA Final Four Most Outstanding Player, AZ Fudd, has also been just that. Outstanding. The graduate student is averaging 17 to 18 points per game this season, shooting 49% from the field and 45% from beyond the arc. Now, Fudd has been phenomenal in her final year of eligibility for the Huskies. Along with those elite shooting numbers, she also averaged 3 assists per game and 2.6 rebounds per game. She came up big in the Huskies' win over Tennessee with 25 points against the Vols, helping them break away in the second half, and has been a beast in conference play, shooting 25 points against both Marquette and Villanova. Now, like I said, UConn has never been a program that relies on 1 or 2 stars, and this team is no different, obviously. It's not just Strong and it's not just Fudd who have helped propel this team to perfection. You got players like Ali Zabel who've had hot streaks late this season, setting 3-point records all along the way.
I'm not going to let you get away with saying Fudd nominal.
Yeah, I heard you throw a little shade at my pun, and I don't like that.
Yeah, a little, I guess, shade in the sun. And there's been a fair share of injuries as well. Ice Brady, Caroline Ducharme, Ayanna Patterson, but this team, as it currently stands, is really at its healthiest as it turns the page to the Big East Women's Basketball Tournament this weekend. Well, those are only 1 year listed on the banners that read Hockey East Tournament champions and NCAA tournament appearances at Toscano, and our top dog, the UConn women's hockey team, has played its first 2 games of this year's conference tournament like it took that fact personally. In the quarterfinal matchup with Maine, the question was, you want to see us score 6 goals? In the semifinal against Holy Cross, it was, you want to see me do it again? That's one for all the SpongeBob fans out there. Back-to-back 6-1 victories over conference opponents they've had close runs with. Add to that 6 different goal scorers. You get a goal, you get a goal, everybody gets a goal. And when we spoke with Coach Mack after the game, he said this is how his team has been built to play.
I think we really, at the beginning of the year, we really wanted to become a more offensive team. And, we structurally wanted to play more in the offensive zone. I think it's paying off right now. And, we were fortunate just to get a couple good bounces there, and when things go our way, the momentum is good, and we're in a really good spot.
It'll be Huskies versus Huskies as UConn faces Northeastern in the tournament final. Northeastern has won all 3 matchups between the 2 teams. Later on, we'll do some recon and dig into the game a little bit more.
I'm Kevin Ferry. When it counts, you need a top dog on your side. That's Ferry Law, proud sponsor of Connecticut Game Week's Top Dog.
Still to come on Connecticut Game Week, an unforgettable senior day for Alex Caraban. We take you inside some special moments between the captain and Husky Nation just ahead.
And coming up, we'll hear from one of the greatest players in UConn history. 1999 NCAA and 2004 NBA champion Rip Hamilton will meet the man behind the mask. You won't want to miss it. Well, time now for our best in show, and we start with none other than Alex Caraban. The 2-time NCAA champion had an unforgettable senior day. Now, a surprise Caraban became just the 25th UConn basketball player inducted into the Huskies of Honor. I say surprise because it was a surprise. He had no idea. And if all of that wasn't enough, Caraban also dropped a season-high 23 points in UConn's comeback win over Seton Hall, fittingly, of course. The captain was fired up the crowd and spoke to them after the game.
One last time, I can't believe you UConn. UConn!
Yeah, what a spirited curtain call at Gamble there for Caraban. Now, after the comeback win over Seton Hall, Coach Dan Hurley heaped the ultimate praise up onto his captain.
Who's done more than this guy? Who's done more while they wore the uniform than this guy? Because in sports, all it comes down to is, did you win for your organization? Did you win championships? Did you win games? And that's why I think he's one of the greatest players to put the uniform on.
And moving right along, the women's basketball team dominated this season's Big East regular season awards. Sarah Strong is the Big East Player and Defensive Player of the Year. Gino Auriemma took Coach of the Year honors, who surprised. And Blanca Quinones earned Freshman of the Year. Strong and AZ Fudd were named to the All-Big East first team.
Yeah, no surprises there, but it was also a good week to be Tia Chan. And let's start with this highlight reel here. Double save against Holy Cross, pad save to the left, then a diving glove stop to her right. And with moves like that, it's no wonder she was named Hockey East Goaltender of the Year for the second year in a row. She's the first Husky to win the award in 2 straight seasons. She's also a top 10 finalist for the Patty Kazmaier Award, given to the top player in women's college hockey. Chan has a career-high 938 saves this season and ranks 3rd in the nation in save percentage. She now has 25 wins on the season as well. Her teammate and fellow captain, Emma Uryu, says the honors are all well-deserved.
There's no one more deserving of that recognition or even for that award. Like, Tia has been the backbone of this program for all 5-6 years that she's been here, and quiet work, dedication, commitment, everything. She's just been a catalyst for us, so to have her means everything for us.
Well, it's time now for some recon, and it's a poetic one at that. 2 seasons ago, the Huskies defeated the other Huskies, of course I'm talking about the Northeastern ones on the ice, in overtime to win the Hockey East tournament. Then last season, Northeastern got the better of UConn in the semis, ending the Husky season and their NCAA playoff dreams. This time around, it will once again be those 2 hockey powerhouses meeting on the ice with the Women's Hockey East title on the line. And Sean, this situation's pretty crazy because UConn's actually going to host this finals matchup despite being the lower seed.
Yeah, Alexa, and the reason why goes back more than a century. Matthews Arena, founded as the Boston Arena, was Northeastern's longtime home. It was the original home of the Boston Bruins, Boston Celtics, and the then New England Whalers. The facility closed in December, and Northeastern has split its home games between different barns in Massachusetts, but with no permanent home facility, they'll play the conference final in Stores. But having home ice doesn't mean it'll be easy for UConn. They've lost all 3 matchups against Northeastern at Toscano. There was an overtime winner in one and a game winner with fewer than 20 seconds in regulation in another. Northeastern is a deep team. Add to that, reigning Hockey East rookie and Player of the Year striker Zablocki is a key contributor. That means Coach Mack and his senior captains Kyla Josefovic and Emma Uryu, they know it'll take an effort on the defensive end to keep from going 0-4 against the other Huskies.
You know, if you make it easy for them, meaning like just bad defensive reads or give them the puck, they're gonna really make you pay. They have some great offensive players. Goaltending's been outstanding. You know, either goal that they put in would be very good, and their defense moved the puck well, and they won't beat themselves. You have to really work hard to create turnovers and take care of the puck.
Having lockdown defense is something that we need to focus on against them. They have big talent. I mean, they got Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year, big seniors on their team. Like, I think they have so much talent on their offensive end. If we can just shut them down offensively and then quick up the ice, shot many shots, I think that's what's going to give us success.
Yeah, like what Kyla said, I think they like to say that defense wins championships, and no matter if you're having trouble scoring or you are scoring, you can always play defense. Mac's been talking about that a lot, so I think if we can do our job in the D zone, play physical, play to our standard like we've been talking about, and capitalize on those transition plays, we'll be in a really good place.
Saturday's puck drop is at 3:30. Well, 2000's babies grew up imitating his free throw routine, but UConn fans may know him better as the man who led the men's basketball team to its first national championship in 1999. Coming up, we'll hear from Richard Hamilton.
And the world lost a legendary coach this week with the passing of Lou Holtz on Wednesday. But did you know the Hall of Famer actually has ties to UConn? That and more when Connecticut Game Week returns. Well, Well, on Wednesday, the football world lost a legend. Lou Holtz passed away at the age of 89 earlier this week. Now, Holtz was a household name in the sports world, leading Notre Dame to the 1988 national championship. He retired in 2004 with 249 wins as a head coach, earning a spot in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2008. Now, while he held head coaching gigs with the Fighting Irish, Razorbacks out of the SEC, and the NC State Wolfpack, to name a few, this icon also had ties to UConn. Now, before taking the headset at William & Mary back in 1969, Holtz was an assistant coach at UConn from 64 to 65. Decades later, UConn would see the name Holtz on the head coaching headset again, only this time it would be Lou's son, Skip, calling the shots. And Skip Holtz led the Huskies from 1994 to 1998.
In other news, Richard Hamilton has given basketball fans plenty of things to remember him by, whether it's his Pistons' dominant win over the Lakers in the 2004 NBA Finals, his 1999 national championship with UConn, the first in program history, his mask, or his iconic free throw routine. I spoke with him about this year's Huskies, and he also talked to me about his son, who committed to play his college ball at Oakland University in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Here's part of our conversation.
Oh man, it's probably the most exciting thing in the world for me and the family. Our son Deuce, man, he's been working so hard since a kid and wanting to achieve to play Division I basketball. And you know, nowadays, man, this high school, middle school, grassroots it's a mess right now. So for him to be able to stay locked in, stay focused, block out, all the outside noise and achieve something like this, I think it's something special.
How are you feeling about this year's UConn team? I know they've had some ups and downs, but still managed to win a lot of games. Maybe they shouldn't have won, but they found a way to win. How do you think that's going to help them in March? How do you feel their chances are overall?
I mean, again, you know me. I mean, I'm UConn. I mean, you cut me right now, I'll bleed UConn. Like, I think that, one, they have a really great chance of doing something special this season again. Dan does a great job of really preparing the group. I mean, even, I always say good teams sometimes wins ugly, right? And there were some games this season that, a lot of people didn't think we were playing well or playing our best, but we still got the win. I like the group of guys. They're playing together. We're getting healthy. Guys stay connected. And I think that, we tend to play our best basketball in March. I mean, if you look at the history of the school, this is our time. So I'm excited about it.
I wanted to ask about the Red Baron campaign as well. As I understand it, a few college basketball fans have a chance to earn money by just, sitting at home eating pizza and watching college basketball in March. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, the promotion. What all's going on?
Well, first of all, you can go sign up at redbaron.com/professional fan. And you can do that now until March 12th. So that's very important. So anybody out there, I would advise you to go ahead and spam that as many times as possible. But how many times can you actually, especially this time of the year, say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go get 3 of my friends, come to my house, sit on the couch. You're gonna get paid $100 an hour, $100 an hour, and you're gonna get free pizza. I mean, that's insane right now.
Well, still to come on Connecticut Game Week. We already set the stage for you for this weekend's Women's Big East Tournament and the Hockey East Tournament. So what's at stake for the men's basketball team in the regular season finale? We'll break down what's in stores next.
CT United won its first ever MLS Next Pro match last weekend, defeating FC Cincinnati 3-1. UConn grad Andre Swanston owns the club. He's the league's only black majority owner, and he's also been a trailblazer in other industries. The club's free youth academy teams have been in place since 2024. Swanston has prepared CT United for success by surrounding himself with the best, including former Husky Shavar Thomas, now the team's head coach.
What I will say is we've staffed up really well. So our sporting director was the sporting director at New York Red Bulls, one of the most successful sporting directors in Major League Soccer history. We have an academy director, a new academy director that just started. Our head coach was an All-American at UConn and played in Major League Soccer.
CT United travels to Chattanooga on Sunday. The team will play its home matches across the state this season before having its permanent home in Bridgeport. It's hard to believe, but Selection Sunday and March Madness will soon be upon us.
Literally about a week's time, but there's still a lot to sort out before then, including UConn and St. John's battling for that top spot in the Big East tournament. So let's check out what's in stores. Now for the men, they finished the regular season on Saturday. They're going to take on Providence on the road, and Dan Hurley's squad should be well rested. They've been off since last weekend's comeback win over Seton Hall. UConn beat Marquette by 16 points at home earlier this season, led by Solo Ball, 17 points and 8 rebounds. Now, a win Saturday or a loss by St. John's would give the Huskies the top seed in the Big East tournament. Tip-off is at 12:30. Now, we got to hear from the man Dan Hurley on Thursday about how his team is feeling after getting a week of rest after the game against Seton Hall and how they're feeling overall as tournament time trickles in.
We got out of that Seton Hall game. We had played 19 league. We were finished with 19 league games before people played 18. I mean, that was a lot. That was a grind. It was grueling. I think the space between playing this one and then playing on Thursday, I think is good for this time of year. It allows us to work on some different lineups and get some practice reps.
Now, the sports experts that Sean and I are, we have our one page of notes here, and we were looking through some of the March Madness projections.
Awful handwriting here.
Yeah, ignore that. But like we said, a win for St. John's on Friday secures them the #1 seed. And if you're asking yourself, how do they get that? It's not because of the head-to-head, because they split this series. It's because of UConn's loss to Creighton and St. John's having that series win over the Blue Jays. That's what gives St. John's #1 seed. We did ask Coach Hurley, do you care if you're a 1 or a 2 in the tournament? Because that seeding won't necessarily affect their tournament seeding as we turn the tables to the NCAA tournament. And he said not really. It kind of trickles down to the
Sounds
same
like
effect.
him.
Yeah, that's kind of his exact words. Was no.
Yeah, that's funny, and college basketball in general has kind of just been, the madness has started early on in March. The #1 spot's been a hot potato over the past few weeks. Florida's on fire. Texas Tech loses to Danny's brother.
Well, of course, and what to do about Miami out of Ohio.
Yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to miss the tournament. I feel like we just need things to talk about. So I don't think they'll leave them out of the tournament. They're undefeated.
They're absolutely going to be in there. It should be a matter of, are they in the top 10?
Yeah, we'll see.
Are they not?
All right. We'll catch you next week live.